some of these other things, don't you think that that's probably something that we really need to take a hard look at and see?
Yeah, but see, I think that Islam is not what's doing it, okay? Islam for me is just another religion, and it's an ideology. And since I taught at the American Overseas School of Rome, I had in my class Muslims and Jews sitting together.
Sure.
And I think that we're always looking for a bad guy. And I think in this area, the bad guy is Islam, and fear is the way to control the masses.
Right.
Okay, because if you go to Islam and you go to the tenets of Muhammad, six, I think there's six, or there four? There's six. They are very much like the Christian tenets. I mean, give alms to your neighbor. You know, fast during Ramadan. There's no difference in the religions. It's the political spin that's put on the religions that separate humanity. I was told that as long as humanity was separated, we were okay. The minute they all come together under catastrophe or love, they've lost control of the planet. So that's my theory. That if people would realize that there's more similarities and differences, that we all can come together. There's mother, father, and children in all religions, and all that, then you're going to get what they don't want you to get, which means we're all the same. We come from one God, one Father, one whatever. We're all the same. And so that is a political manipulation of planet Earth. And they don't like it when we all start to come together. And somebody who's running this thing. And I'll tell you that I would like to stay away from conspiracy theory because I'm going to do just the UFO thing.
No, me too. I wasn't trying to go there at all. Trust
because
me.
I know a few things about that situation in the top. I know a few things, and there are some agencies and some groups that are not so cool, and they are not Islamic. Okay. And I don't want to go there.
Fair enough. All right. I'll get to the end here because I know you probably have stuff to run off to, and I just have one or two more things. First of all, I was just wondering if you could just generally comment. I'm going to try to ask everybody this, and I can't wait to compare the answers on debunkers and skeptics and different people that you've run across.
Now, I talked about the infighting in this field. I'm darn sick of it.
Exactly.
Okay. The reason why, for two reasons, and I'm going to go on record saying this. Colonel Corso's book was 17th on the New York Times bestseller list, and it was in competition with other people's books on Roswell. So that was #1 why they hated it. Okay? Because if they were true researchers, they should have all sat at a table and compared notes about Roswell. What do you know? What do you know? How do you know? Instead, no. They're all going after each other because they're #1. Their book is #1. It's about money. It's about the UFO circuit, you know, speaking circuit and everything. So I don't like that, and I've been a victim of that, being a woman, and also being my colleagues who have been not so nice. Okay? So I like to leave that group of people behind in the past. They want to fight, go in a little room and fight among yourselves, and the truth will never come out. Because Colonel Corso used to say they're fighting among themselves, so the intelligence community didn't have to do anything. Because they're keeping the truth.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
If you want
and it's working.
It's working.
Or it's been working
So
anyway.
the debunkers, a lot of them are paid because they can't get money any other way. So they're not making money with their books, so they go, okay, you go and say a couple of things and mess it all up. The debunkers are doing us a disservice. Some debunkers are very proud. They were the old guys and they don't want to talk about the new guys. I've heard a lot of nasty things about exopolitics because of the jealousy around this new movement. And they don't realize it's an intellectual movement. They don't bother to do their homework. People do not bother to do their homework. They don't read the books. They don't know the latest research.
Preaching to the choir on that, yes, of course.
They don't read the latest research. Since I'm a teacher and have a master's degree, I read everything. I just want to know. I don't care who said it. And they don't take this approach. It's very territorial. So my idea is that debunkers do us a disservice, and I won't even argue with them. They can go play their little games. I won't even argue. So I mean, if you're interested in word-for-word interviews and you want to put together the picture yourself, you come to me and I'll give you what you need. Because I did the work, and I'll tell you what, I'm not financed. It came out of my salary as a teacher. There was no Rockefeller to finance me. Nobody gave me money. I did my own thing, and I fly out to places. I went to NASA to interview Clark McClellan on my own dime. I flew to see Paul Hellyer, ex-Minister of Defense, on my own dime. So I'm doing all these things on my own dime.
Right.
And I don't answer to anybody except humanity, and I hope that their judgment of our work in the future will be kind.
Well, let me ask you just very quickly, before you ever got into this field, at one point, like my own kids, you were a kid, you know, just
Yeah.
running around doing whatever. What changed your mind?
No, I never looked at this.
Really?
No. It was, I was almost in my 30s. I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and I cried at the end of that.
Right.
Francois Truffaut looked at the alien and did a hand movement.
Right.
It was that moment, and I was in my 30s. I was a mother of 2 children.
Sure.
That changed my reality. Then, by coincidence, I met let's say Heineck in Evanston, Illinois.
Right.
He said to me, "You work with me. You do my Italian translations." Then I began traveling with him. He became.
And you were just off and running at that point.
Off and running, but not until my later life because I was not ready. Just like I'm not ready for contact until my later
Again, I
life.
think I probably share that with
Yeah,
you, to tell you the
I
truth.
can't deal with contactees
Right.
until 10 years ago.
Right.
And I couldn't go there
Right.
mentally. I
Right.
just couldn't. So I think I've done enough of a good job,
Absolutely,
doing
sure.
my best. But the trouble is that my colleagues, I have colleagues who aren't recognizing that. Number one, because I'm a woman, and number two, because I'm everywhere.
Right.
One of the people that does recognize it, and I thank very much for it, is George Nuri, and that's who my book is dedicated to, Coast to Coast.
I was going to go into that, but I won't
he does.
bother. Listen.
It's dedicated to George Nuri, and he said to me that he thanks me for all the work I do, and I appreciate it coming from him. That's why my book is dedicated to Coast, and Tom Danheiser and Lisa Lyon and Lex Sloan who work with Coast to Coast.
Sure.
Because for me, that radio show is what people listen to. They count that as the ultimate authority.
Yes.
And I became the ultimate authority because I was on that show.
Right. Right.
So it's amazing. So I will thank them forever. And I hope they remember us 20 years
Sure.
from now or
Sure.
50 years from now. When I do believe we will have disclosure. And I do not think it's in the hands of the government or the people. I think it's in the hands of the ETs.
I think that's a pretty common sentiment too.
Yeah.
If I can just get one last little thing, one of the things I'm trying to do with this project is to draw in new blood and new people, young people, into this field as investigators
How do
or
you do
whatever.
that?
And I was just going to ask you if you had any thoughts on that at all. Yes.
Well, my book, in my book, the new one, the preface is written by Brent Smith. He's 21 years old. He's a student at Humboldt University in California. And I want to give you his email. And will you tell him?
Oh, please.
Because he wrote the preface to my book, and he is the son of Yvonne Smith, the researcher.
Right.
And I cared about young people and letting him write the preface to my last book.
That's great.
So I'm going to
Just pass my email along
would
if
you
you would.
interview him? He's 21
Of course I
years
will,
old.
absolutely.
Okay, and
Certainly.
that guy will tell you.
That would be terrific.
And the only other way is to teach it in schools.
Yeah, right.
To teach it in schools.
Right, and we're probably
Okay.
a few years from that.
I'll go to any school and talk at any time. So, because I'm a teacher, I teach high school
Right,
English.
right.
So I'll do it.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh,
That's
no
30
kidding.
30
Oh,
years
wow.
teaching high school English.
Right.
But they told me in the classroom never to talk about this.
Right.
Okay. So the other thing I was gonna say, please come to my
Of course, absolutely, I'll be there.
to my presentation. And then you can ask me all the questions you want.
That's terrific.
After it, because after you see all the Hollywood stuff I'm going to show you.
That's kind of why I've been standing around today. I was waiting to see what people were speaking about before.
Yeah, then you'll say, oh my God, the connection. Oh my
Yeah,
God, you know,
sure.
you'll just go and do that.
Right.
And I hope I did enough for you.
Absolutely,
I
no,
wanna keep
absolutely. I
going.
really appreciate it.
Okay.
That's terrific.
Okay. All right. If
Thanks very much.
I'm sitting there and you have any more questions, I'll be glad to answer.
I'll come over and bother you.
Well, good luck
Sure.
on your
Thanks
professional.
very much.
And you're a young person, so
Yes.
I got high hopes for you. I gotta go get the tape recorder.
Go ahead.
Because I can't remember anything that you tell me.
Understand that.
I have always done tape recorder things because you should see the tapes I have.
Oh, I'm
I have
sure.
so many tapes because
Hours and hours.
I can't just write down or do that. No, I have to have the person's words. Then if they say I never said that, I'll say, here you are. You're on tape. You just said that to me.
Deny everything.
I deny that.
Alan and one of the Christian stations said, when you get married, and your wife says you said that, he says, don't tell her I didn't say that. He said, don't go down that road.
Well, if I make a mistake like that that needs major, I can be sued and everything else.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so
Of course.
I tape everything.
Right.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Thanks very much.
I'll be right back. Really, I'll get the tape recorder.